Hi, my name's Antonio.
And I'm Deborah.
And we're going to teach you how to dance fusion. Fusion is basically like a hodgepodge of a lot of different dances. The idea is kind of like you take what you know in your toolbox,
And I take what I know in my toolbox.
and we kind of blend it together. We fuse it. Hey, that's the name of the dance. And it's great. It's a lot of fun. And before we get started, there's no basic for fusion. You get to just do whatever you want, and you can really do whatever you want from whatever dance you want. But we're going to teach you a few composite moves that really help you to get started putting a few tools in your toolbox if you don't have any. So fusion doesn't really have a basic. If you want, you can start by just going side, tap, and side, tap, side, tap, and side, tap. And that's really great for starting when you're about to dance or before you go into the music. But after that, what we really consider as the basic for fusion is walking forward and walking back. And if you notice, we have mirrored feet. So like I step with my left foot and she steps with her right foot and then vice versa. And this is really great because you can walk forward, you can walk back, but then what's also really cool is you can start to rotate around. And this kind of lets you navigate the floor. Then after that, you can start to play around with how you walk. So for example, you're walking forward, you can change your levels so you can go down, or you can change your levels going up and go really, really high. And because it's fusion, there's no basic, you don't have to do anything. And what that means in practice is that she can change her feet, or I can change my feet. And now, if you notice, we're on the same foot. And she can do a chassé that puts her on another foot, or a triple step, and like we'll get to that at some like later class. But essentially, we can change our feet. We're not obligated to like a basic like we would be in salsa or in West Coast swing or in any type of ballroom dance. We actually get to play around and we have that creativity. And what that looks like with music is that when the music changes, when it speeds up, when you hear another instrument or something like that, you can play around with that. So we're gonna give you an example. So if you notice, we're doing that step tap just to kind of like get used to each other. And then, da-dum, boom. I slowed it down. And then I can start walking forward. And I'm walking on each beat. Da-da-da-dum, ba. And like I step on every other beat now. Ba-dum, ba. So if you notice, we can really play around a lot with how we walk around. Da, da, da. So we have that creativity to play around with our own footwork, and we're not obligated to a basic, which is what I said like 3 times. But it's really helpful to remember that, because this can become a playground for you that really helps with other dances, because now you can just focus on listening to the music and trying to play around and find out what else you can do. So now you probably want to start to do other things other than just walking around. So the first thing that you should learn is how to do a throw out, which is just literally what the name suggests, throwing your partner out. And then you can pull them in to bring them back in, and that's your first pattern that you've learned, a throw out. And you do this in other dances like East Coast swing while you're dancing. You can send your partner out and now you're free. But we're doing it without the basic. So she's out. Okay, so the next move that we're gonna do is called an underarm turn. So we're gonna send our partner in front of us, we're gonna raise the hand, and that's gonna give them an inside turn. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we don't yank our partner around. We want to just send them ahead of us, raise the hand, and let the momentum continue on its own. And that is called an inside turn. There's a few different types of turns. So we have an inside turn, which is when the hand goes across my partner's face and they turn in. And then there's an outside turn when the hand goes away from their face and they turn out. And we can do both of those when we're together. When we give them a send out or a throw out, there's a few different names for all the different moves. So we can do, as we did before, an inside turn, or we can do an outside turn, which involves me sending them out and raising the hand over their head. Now,
So as a follow, I'm noticing two things when he goes to send me out. Number one, this hand is pulling me forward. That's the obvious thing. The other thing, a little bit more subtle that you might not see as well from the camera, is this hand lowers just a tiny bit. That creates space for me to take this arm away. And he gives me just a little bit of a push forward.
yeah. And what's really interesting is that the moment that I connect on the shoulder blade, my partner puts their hand on my shoulder, and then the moment that I move it, they take it away. All right, so now we're gonna show you with music.
Moving on to a waist roll.
So I'm gonna send my partner in front of me, and then I'm going to go through the hand, catch the other hand, and give them an inside turn. And that's typically how we do a waist roll. There's a few different names for all the different dance moves that we do. This is just our vernacular. So when we send our partner forward, we do the throw out like we did before, and then I'm going to pull my partner in towards my stomach with my left hand,
I'm thinking about staying facing my partner as I go through this.
and then I'm going to do the exact same thing as I give her the inside turn. And then this is what it looks like when we do it fast. And to get speed, you really have to make sure to do that pull. Another really cool thing about dancing fusion is that it kind of becomes a playground where you get to do a lot of different things. So when I send my partner forward, instead of one hand, I could go for two hands, and then I can do the same waist roll, but keeping both hands. Or I can let go of one and catch with the other. Or have this other hand and go for a waist roll. Or I could go for a waist roll without even touching. So you get that freedom, and that's the really cool part about fusion, that it really becomes a playground where you get to do a lot of different things and you get to expand your horizons. So the next move that we're going to teach you is called the sweetheart, or the cuddle, or the cradle. People have different names for different things, again. So I'm gonna send my partner in front of me, then I'm going to wrap them up, and then I'm gonna send them back out, and then I'm gonna come back in. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but let's go over it slowly. So I'm gonna go for that send out that we had before, but we're gonna go for two hands. And then I'm going to lower my right hand, and I'm gonna pull my partner around for a turn across their face to put them on my right side. What's really cool about when they're here is that now, if we want, we can rotate in place and she's on my right side, or we could walk forward, or we could walk back. Doesn't really work sideways because then we bump into each other. But we can also switch places with our partner while they're in sweetheart. What we don't want to do is we don't want to have our thumbs holding on to our partner, because now, if you notice, she's kind of like in yeah, she's kind of in a straitjacket, and we want to avoid that. So no thumbs while we're dancing, and that's all we're dancing in general. And then we're going to raise the left hand to bring them out of the turn, out of the pattern. And then here's a variation for the sweetheart, especially if it's uncomfortable to wrap your partner up. The first thing is that we're going to send our partner in front of us for a throw out, and then we're going to switch to a handshake hold. And we're gonna have our left over right, so left to left, right to right, left over right. And then we're gonna pull our partner in for that sweetheart position, and now she's on my right side. And so now we can walk forward, we can walk back, we can rotate just like before. We can even switch our partner from one side over to the other. And this is still a sweetheart, just now we're not wrapped up. And then we send our partner out, and yeah. All right, so now we're gonna show you with music.